So hello guys, karibuni. My name is Joe and I'm a forex architect with yet another video. And in today's episode I will be showing you the two trades which I took for the past week, that is Eurusd and Gbpnzd. So I hope you'll find this video useful and you'll follow and subscribe so that you can see my journey in the forex markets. So let's dive into the markets. So for this week, I did take one trade. Actually, I took two trades, and one of them was Gbpnzd, and I feel so sad about my handling, or rather the way I managed the trade. I don't like the way I managed the trade. So first of all, this is the second time actually it is happening to me since I started recording these videos, and I usually have this problem. Whenever a trade is going into my direction, I get so fearful, despite the fact that I know that the problem with traders who begin, they have a problem with fear when trade is going their way. I can't resist the temptation. I try as much as possible to stay away from the charts so that I don't interfere with the charts, but whenever I get into good profits, I usually do something silly. So let me show you what happened with Gbpnzd. And yeah, I did not go a loss, even though I did a silly mistake, but I went with half or even third of the amount of profit that I was supposed to go with. So let's see what the mistake was. So here's the chart for Gbpnzd. I had showed you my analysis in the previous video, so if you have not watched the video, click the pop-up notification up there so that you can go see my analysis for Gbpnzd. Yeah, but here's the analysis. So as you can see on Gbpnzd, I was waiting for price to come back to this 4-hour supply zone right here, and the trend was previously an uptrend, came, broke the previous low, started to make a series of lows and lower highs, and I first waited for price to get into my zone. I went on the lower time frame. The entry was perfect. Let me show you on the lower time frame. As you can see on the lower time frame, which is the 1 hour time frame, price came, touched this zone, and then I had to wait for a pattern or for price to give me more hints that it was about to turn around. I could not carelessly take the position. So price, after breaking out of the zone, it went back to retest the zone, forming a very nice double top, and the double top had two advantages, or this is what made me like this double top. So the first top is higher, and then the second top, it's like a shoulder. It's only that you don't have another shoulder on the other side, but it's lower than the other top. So that shows you how great the weakness is, or rather how price is greatly rejecting the zone. So I waited for price to break this previous high and close below it, and I did not enter with this candle closed. So as you can see, this candle never closed below the line, it only wicked the line. So I waited for another candle to close below it, and this candle was a good confirmation for my entry. After this candle closed, I entered the trade right here, as you can see, and then my take profit was somewhere around this green line right here. So here's the thing, and I know you'll understand my situation, but it is not justified. So I have a problem with managing my trades, and price, as you can see, there was a news which was coming up for GBP. I don't remember the specific news, but I don't trade news. I use news as catalyst for my entries. So after I had entered my position, which was around 8, So that was before London Open. London Open in my country opens at around 10 a.m. So this was 2 hours before London Open. So I entered the trade 2 hours before London Open, and after London opened, the news went into my favor and price melted into my direction. So I was able to hold the trade for I entered the trade on Wednesday, and then I held the trade until Thursday evening. No, not actually Thursday. I was able to hold the trade until Friday. Yeah, and the issue happened on Friday at around London Open. On Friday, London Open, there was another high impact news which was supposed to be red, and when the news got red, as you can see, I had entered to break even. When the news was released, there was a huge green candle which was formed. As you can see, this huge wick above here, this was at some point a huge bullish candle. So when the bullish candle was happening, fear took over, and as you can see, when price when I entered the trade, at some point it went all the way down, reached around my take profit, but since I was not actively looking at the charts, it did not touch my take profit. It just came close to the take profit and then turned back around. So what was going in my mind, what was going through in my mind was that maybe it's just having a small pullback, because there was this was a nice point of demand, so price was resisting the demand before breaking it. So that was what was going in my mind. So I was like giving the trade another chance for it to break the zone, and I adjusted my stop loss from break even, and I brought it somewhere above these highs right here. So when the news got released, there was this huge bullish candle which happened, and I could not believe. At some point, I could the trade was running at around $110, and then the other minute you have about $45 floating in profit. Just imagine how psychologically that was difficult for me to handle. So I was not able to handle my emotion. The logical thing to do could have to just let it stand at break even, because I believe with every entry it is much better if you let your trade go to your direction. You either get out of the trade with maximum profit or break even. If price is not playing around your stop loss zone, just let the price run into your direction, because the more you try to manage the trade, the more you may end up doing a lot of careless mistakes. So this was one of the mistakes I did with a trade which went into my direction. And if I'm not wrong, I also gave you of another scenario in one of my past videos. If you want, you can go check it out. Yeah, I had another trade going into my direction. I did the same mistake of getting scared, and I just closed the position. So for this trade, I closed with around $50. That was almost the same amount, almost the same amount as I had risked, or more. So for this trade, I was scared, and yeah, I secured only $50. Yeah, that is it for Gbpnzd, and as you can see right now, the trade is running at around $93. This is just a demo account right here, and it is just a graphical representation of the real trade which I place in my funded next challenge account. Yeah, so enough of venting. The next trade which I took was Euro USD, and for Euro USD the same thing happened, but the worst thing is I went or rather I came out of the trade with a loss. You see where the mistake comes in. For this, at least I lost some floating profit, but I eventually ended up with some profits. You know, that's understandable, but let me just explain what I did wrong with Euro USD. Yeah, so let's go to Euro USD and see what I did wrong and how we can correct the same. So this is Euro USD, and the same as for Gbpnzd, I also did my forecast analysis and how I was waiting for the trade to play out so that I can get involved. So if you have not checked the video, click on the pop-up banner above to go check my analysis on Euro USD setup and how I ended up getting an entry on the same. So for Euro USD, we'll start off with the 4-hour time frame, and it is a breakout trade. And for this trade, what happened is I was waiting for my Euro USD entry at around this 4-hour supply zone right here, and this is the 4-hour range. So my stop loss is usually around the 4-hour range. So when price tapped into my supply zone, that was on Friday around 13 hours East African time, and when the price touched the 4 hours supply zone, I started observing it keenly on the lower time frame. So let's go on the 1 hour time frame and see how price reacted to the zone and how I got the entry. So this is the 1 hour time frame for Euro USD, and when price tapped into the 4-hour supply zone, which is right here, as you can see, when price tapped the 4-hour zone, I remember there was some news coming out, but not major news as you expect, but you know, the news had impact on the market, and that pushed the market to my supply zone. After price touched my supply zone, it formed this low right here, and then went back up again, came again, tested again the same low, went back up, came and broke the low. So that is a shift in structure. So the structure was no longer this nice uptrend right here. After this change in structure, that was my entry confirmation, or rather my setup confirmation. So what I was left for me to do was to set a limit order, because if I was to enter after this candle closed, put my stop loss above the zone, and then put my TP somewhere around these lows, this is almost 1-to-1 risk reward, and that is not a good risk reward over a long period of time. So what I usually do is I adjust my entry. So for this case, I adjusted my entry to somewhere around here. So this is a nice 1 to 2.5 risk reward. The reason why I did this is because there was another news release at around 18 hours in the evening. So as you can see, after this candle closed below, this news event led to price rising back up again, and it triggered me into the position. So after I got into the position, here's where everything started. Here's where hell broke loose. So I got my entry somewhere around here, and after I got this entry, price did not push, did not start showing good sign of rejecting these highs. I was expecting after price changed character, or rather the uptrend shifted to being a downtrend, I was expecting that the market will start showing nice rejection of these highs, but price kept closing bullish. As you can see, this candle right here, let me just delete this bullish candle right here, it does not have any wick on the upper side. So that's a clear indication of strong bulls participation. So that kind of triggered fear into me. I know I had already placed a stop loss, and a stop loss is the only thing that should keep me out of the trade, but fear came into me, but I did not take in any action. So the next candle after this one closed opened, and the same happened. A new candle formed with little to almost no wick on the upper side. So that's a strong bullish influence. Remember, this was on Friday, and this candle was closing at around 21 hours. So that is like 2-3 hours before market was closed, until Monday. So what was running into my mind is find a reason, or rather go to the higher time frame and see how the higher time frame looks like. I was just looking for a reason for me to exit this position. So remember, my entry is somewhere around here, okay? And these recent 2 weekly candles right here, they are 2 dojis, and it is just a strong rejection of this low. As you can see, this low formed right here on the weekly. The 2 recent candles has huge wicks showing bearish weakness. So in my mind, what I was thinking is, how can you continue holding this position? And for the past 2 weeks, price has shown strong rejection of this zone. So that kind of triggered me to closing my position. Even though I know my strategy, in my strategy, I don't usually look at the weekly time frame. I only use the daily time frame and the 4-hour time frame and the other lower time frame. But for this particular trade, I went on to the lower time frames, looked for a reason for me to exit the position. And this is one thing I've known in my trading period, that the lower time frame gives us an insight of what the higher time frame is doing. So if the weekly time frame shows us that this is a doji forming on the weekly time frame, going on the daily and 4-hour time frame will show us a clear reaction of price within that one candle. So I had no clear justifying reason for me to close the Euro USD short position, just because I went to the weekly time frame to close a 4-hour trade. That did not make sense, and that did not make sense to me after I had closed the position, because I had followed every single criteria that I need to enter a position. So I'm guilty as charged. I actually feel so bad, but I have to do something about it. And what I'll do is, first of all, I've already paid for my mistake with around $20, because I closed the trade with around $20 negative. So that's a bad loss, but it's the price I paid. For my stupid actions. So as you can see, on the daily time frame, the price is smoothly melting down, or rather it's a nice downtrend, and this daily support zone got broken and the daily candle closed below it. So that already shows me that it was okay for me to short the position, you see. And I know others might agree with the reason for my exit, but still I went outside my rules. It's not every time I will win doing the same thing, but most of the times I will win. But if I continue including new things into my strategy, that might these are small bad habits that I'm adopting in my trading, and if I continue, they might really affect me in the long term. So I might have done the right thing, but I betrayed my strategy, because in my strategy I never look at the weekly time frame, but for this one case I went to the weekly time frame so that I can look for a valid reason to exit the position, just because the position is floating in a loss. Yeah, so those are the two trades that I took for this week, of which both of them I managed them poorly, but my entry was top notch. Actually, I can't complain about my entry. So this is what I want to tell you guys out there, that trading is not as easy. You might have the best YouTube videos, the best computer, the best internet, but without discipline even with $1 million account, you'll just waste all the capital. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this is my second account that I'm trading from Funded Next prop firm. And for the first account, I also did a mistake. I was up around 2% in profit overall in the account, and I got greedy, because in my personal account I was making profits trading news events. So I went out of my strategy and I traded news without even calculating my loss. I traded news because I was so confident about it. So I traded news and I ended up breaching the daily drawdown. I really felt so sad, because I had traded the account for about 2 months. So for 2 months effort just swept away by one bad decision. That is how I lost that account. I never got to see phase 2, and I decided to trade this new account, and I decided that I will not do any silly mistakes. And here I am, mid-February, doing the dumbest shit. And I must do something about it. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because I know I'm not the only one suffering from these disciplinary problems. There is most of you out there, especially because I know most of the people who watch my channel are either beginners or intermediate traders. So I know what you're facing right now. You might be facing financial struggles. That is better, because whenever you solve the financial struggle, it's easy for you to succeed in trading if you have no discipline issue. But if you have discipline issue and you have no finances, even if you get the finances, you'll get it wrong on the discipline. So trading is a competition with yourself. You're not competing with anyone, it's you against yourself. So it's up to you to better yourself. Do as you plan your trade, and do as you plan. Don't do anything outside your planning. And I hope this video will help me stay in line. Because the worst thing that can happen after this video is me doing the same thing that I posted on this video. So the other main reason why I'm posting these silly mistakes that I'm doing is so that I can hold myself accountable. If I repeat the same mistake, I'll most likely shy from doing the same mistake if I have already posted it. Yeah, that's my reasoning, and I hope it works out. Yeah, so thanks guys, and see you on the next video. Subscribe, like if you want to follow me on this forex journey.